Something huge is brewing in the city of Phoenix. As we all know, with Matt Ishbia and this Phoenix Suns team, it did not go the direction that he and the fans had envisioned for this year. And with that being said, there are massive changes going to be coming to this team with a new report from an insider revealing some key information on a Kevin Durant trade. This is absolutely key and necessary to break down through when diving into this Phoenix Suns squad. So we're going to look into this detail revolving around this move and ultimately break down how it affects the Suns going into this off season as things need to be done. We'll be getting into all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I am Bruce Velez, and you guys have been fantastic showing your love and support. I want to give a shout out to Ben, who's been making some videos here on the channel for me, with me being busy this past couple of weeks with my mom being away and helping out. So thank you so much for Ben for doing that. Once again, if you guys do enjoy the content, want to stay up to date on everything, make sure you get all the Phoenix Suns news. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, as right around 64% of you guys who watch these videos are not subscribed, and you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything. This is the place for you. But without further ado, let's dive into it and let's get into the news at hand, as it is heating up with the Phoenix Suns, as news, trades, dominoes are starting to fall already within this team, as we've seen Mike Budenholzer already be let go, and we've heard the reports of potentially bringing in Bob Myers, switching up this front office, moving on from certain players, and all of that jazz. But with the latest update coming from Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, we see from his Siegel's Scoop, which he releases every Friday, that there's some news revolving around the NBA on some specific superstars. And in its title, it talks about Giannis Antetokounmpo, but that's not who we're going to be breaking down. We're going to be breaking down Kevin Durant, as even in addition to Giannis being a hot name amongst NBA personnel, Durant too will also again hear his name in countless rumors, as we've already heard throughout the entire offseason revolving around Kevin Durant. This is the case. After involving Durant in conversations with teams ahead of the trade deadline, obviously all indications point towards a split between the two-time Finals MVP and the Phoenix Suns, as the Suns recently fired Mike Budenholzer after one season, and the team will reportedly work together on an offseason trade, according to Shams Charania of ESPN. And this has been talked about over the last couple of weeks. But however, it is certainly not a given that Durant will be moved in the coming months, as Ishbia and the Suns have said that they will not accept less value in a trade involving Kevin Durant than they initially sent out to get him, a source says. At 36-year-old, Durant is still one of the most dynamic scorers in the league, and Phoenix understands that they would be aiding any team's championship pursuit by handing them a future Hall of Famer on a silver platter. And as we know with this Phoenix Suns team, right, they don't want to move on from Kevin Durant. They don't want to do this type of deal, right? But with the Suns being in the second apron, being so restrictive on all these types of penalties, and still with waiving Vasilije Micic and Cody Martin, still having 7 guys under the roster and still being in the first apron, it's going to be tough to build a championship contender around these three, specifically three $50 million contracts, when one of them doesn't live up to that. And as we've seen with Durant, through this season, we have seen him been absolutely perfect for the Suns. Like we mentioned, averaged 26.6 points, almost 27 points, 6 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.2 blocks, and almost 1 steal a game, while shooting 53% from the field and 43% from three-point range. Kevin Durant was an absolute sniper, go-getter, a guy that the Phoenix Suns really, really valued this season, and was the MVP, in my opinion, of the Phoenix Suns. If he didn't get into these injuries, if the Suns didn't have Coach Budenholzer as their head coach, had a different head coach, I could see this Suns team being in the play-in with this roster, even with their miscalculations of their roster creation, and still having a brighter outlook than they do now. But with obviously all the news revolving around this Suns team and kind of talking about it, the Suns obviously still want to move off Durant, but the teams that are interested in Durant are, Houston, New York, Minnesota, teams that are still competent, still teams that if they add Kevin Durant, it takes them to the next step. So why should the Suns take a lesser trade back for that? And that's where we kind of get into it. Now, obviously, as we know, the trade that the Suns got for Durant was they sent away Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, a first-round pick at 23, 25, 27, and 29, and a first-round pick swap in 2028. Now, the Suns also got TJ Warren in this deal here, but the Phoenix Suns ultimately asking for a price of 2 solid wings and 5 first-round picks for Kevin Durant is not a bad trade ask, but it's something that they will not receive, in my opinion. I do believe that this is a tall asking price for the Phoenix Suns, and once again, with them being in this second apron, teams are going to look at that and value that, and knowing that, hey, they have to move Kevin Durant to just have any flexible space, have any chance to kind of rebuild around Devin Booker, retool around Devin Booker. So if that's the direction that the Phoenix Suns want to go, what Matt Ishbia has been preaching, all of these teams are going to be trying to sell the Phoenix Suns on a lower package for Durant, who once again has gone up a little bit in age, has had some injuries throughout the season, but once again is still playing like a top tier player in this association. So when we get into the further parts of it, obviously none of the three stars in Durant, Booker, and Bradley Beal were very pleased with Coach Budenholzer this season. An immediate change was needed, and that's why Matt Ishbia went and fired him at the end of the season. But as we all know and has been reported on this channel, even if Durant does see a coach coming here, he might not be traded and he might not be moved, as obviously there's a solid head coach being brought in. He'd like to stay. And like I mentioned, teams like the Timberwolves, the Rockets, Mavericks, Heat, Warriors, Hawks all had discussions with the Suns at the deadline around Booker and Durant in those directions, talking about different types of ways that the Suns would want to go. But the Suns ultimately have made it known that if Durant is available, that obviously he is going to have to get a tall asking price. Now, once again, Durant is on a 1-year deal where he is going to be looking for an extension, and the team that is trying to trade for him probably is going to want to get him to, verbally say that he is going to extend with the team before making a trade. But Durant might not want to do that, therefore, either, which could throw some complications in the road for all of this. Ultimately, I think with hearing all of this news, it lets us know that Durant still will be moved, as Ishbia and this Phoenix Suns team is still looking to move off of him, but that their asking price is going to be a little bit taller than what many thought so. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And next, we'll get into, will this be possible as the Phoenix Suns look to change some dominoes, look to make some new scenery being brought into the team around Devin Booker? Will they be able to get a deal like this that they are asking for, right? A deal that is going to be the same value that they sent out for Kevin Durant? I don't think so. I don't think that they'll be able to get a player like Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and 5 first-round picks for a player in Kevin Durant. I don't think that 5 first-round picks is even feasible for Kevin Durant without no players being added into it. So even with a bad contract being traded back to the Phoenix Suns, I ultimately think the Suns will get 1, maybe 2 first-round picks for Kevin Durant, and I do believe that they will have this high asking price of a Mikal Bridges type package that they traded away for Durant, will ultimately drop the package lower and lower. I texted about it in my group chat. I think that they'll bow down to around an 85% type of package for Kevin Durant, which ones include maybe 2 solid players for Durant and 2 first-round picks. I feel like that's a fair package for the Phoenix Suns. It lets them be able to retool, maybe use some of those first-round picks to move off of Bradley Beal's contract to really fully reset with this Phoenix Suns team. But ultimately, if not, it still allows them to bring in some sort of capital for Durant. They don't lose him for nothing, and they can use that capital regardless of what the players they get back in return, right? We looked at some previous teams that we were discussing, right? Like the Rockets, obviously the Timberwolves, the Heat, the Warriors, the Hawks, the Knicks. All these teams are interested. I'm sure you can get some solid wing contributors, some solid defensive pieces, as Matt Ishbia and this Phoenix Suns team has made it known that they want to be successful on the defensive side, and that's what I would expect them to try to trade for Durant, right? Get a solid defender, get another wing player, add 2 first-round picks. I think that's a good deal, and I think that's solid enough for the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Let me know what you guys ultimately think on all this Kevin Durant jazz, as, like I said, there's a lot of drama, a lot of news revolving around this Phoenix Suns team on who's going to go, when they're going to go, what they're going to go for. And ultimately, I think this discussion is going to continue, obviously, throughout the playoffs. But once the playoffs end, for those next couple weeks, gearing up for the draft, gearing up to free agency, we're going to be hearing the names of Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, amongst many others within this Phoenix Suns organization. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything revolving around this Phoenix Suns team, this is the place for you. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you want Kevin Durant to stay? Do you want Kevin Durant to be traded? What kind of package do you think Kevin Durant does get traded for in the ultimate long run? And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Once again, have a great rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, and go Phoenix Suns.